What began as a simple request for a minor repair soon unraveled into something far more intriguing, a moment that would linger in the shadows of our minds. At the age of 60, I found myself in a serene existence, a life marked by tranquility and routine, yet deep within, I had long buried the yearning for something beyond the ordinary, a longing I was reluctant to acknowledge. As Matthew stepped into my home that Wednesday afternoon, exuding youth and confidence, yet tinged with a hint of nervousness, an unexpected feeling stirred within me. What began as a seemingly innocent meeting soon transformed into a web of complexities that stirred the heart and ignited the senses. If you enjoy this story, consider supporting the channel by liking and subscribing. Your support would mean the world. A simple tap on that like button would be a delightful gesture. What started as formal encounters began to transform, charged with an irresistible allure. As I ventured into uncharted territory, the distinction between desire and obsession began to fade into a tantalizing haze. This unexpected turn of events stirred emotions within me that I could no longer suppress. For days, I found myself entranced by the dripping sink, the water pooling in the basin like a secret waiting to be discovered. It served as a lingering whisper of the neglect I had allowed to seep into the corners of my life. After years of pouring my heart into my home, it all felt hollow without a kindred spirit to share its warmth and secrets with. The house, once vibrant with laughter and warmth, now loomed too vast after my separation, each room whispering secrets of a past I longed to forget. The kitchen, once a sanctuary of affection and intimacy, now lingered in a hushed state of disarray. As the sink reached a point of intolerable chaos, I found myself drawn to an action I hadn't dared to embrace in ages. I reached out for assistance. I discovered a charming local handyman named Matthew. His name held little significance, merely a figure to resolve the predicament at hand. I envisioned a man with a wealth of experience, perhaps a bit rugged and unrefined. Instead, I opened the door to discover a young man in his 20s, poised before me with a toolbox in hand, his gray shirt clinging to his sculpted physique in a way that stirred something deep within. His nervous smile carried a quiet charm, something about him that was unexpectedly intriguing. "Hello, I'm here to inspect the sink," he murmured, his voice low and gentle, carrying an air of intimacy. A sudden jolt coursed through me, my heart betraying its usual rhythm, as if it had been caught in a moment meant only for whispers and stolen glances. It was utterly ridiculous in truth. At this stage in my life, I never expected to experience such electrifying sensations again, yet there it was, a flicker of desire I hadn't experienced in ages. "Step inside," I beckoned, attempting to dismiss the tension as I moved aside. I observed him as he glided through the house, his eyes lingering on the kitchen, where he immersed himself in his task with an alluring focus. He knelt by the sink, his hands gliding over the pipes with a practiced grace, a quiet intimacy lingering in the air. I lingered, feigning distraction, yet my gaze remained irresistibly drawn to him. There was an undeniable allure in the way he toiled, the power in his arms, and the intensity etched upon his features. It had been ages since I found myself in such proximity to a young man, and only now did I begin to ponder the possibilities of what this moment could hold. An unexplainable change stirred within me, awakening desires I had long kept hidden. It was more than just his appearance. Matthew possessed a striking allure, exuding a charm that was both raw and captivating. The allure of his presence enveloped me, igniting a spark that was impossible to resist. His vibrant energy stood in stark relief to the serene existence I had grown comfortable with. He radiated a warmth that stirred emotions within me, feelings I thought had long been buried. I found myself pressed against the counter, my gaze lingering on him with an intensity that felt both thrilling and forbidden. My robe, once a simple garment, now clung to me in a way that stirred unexpected sensations, compelling me to adjust it as I sought to banish the enticing thoughts that danced in my mind. Matthew's eyes found mine, a spark igniting in the charged silence between us. The glimmer of astonishment danced in his eyes, holding my gaze for a moment longer before he turned back to the sink, a silent tension hanging in the air between us. His cheeks flushed ever so slightly, igniting a thrill within me at the sight of his reaction. In that fleeting moment, a wave of emotion surged within me, awakening desires I had long kept buried, hidden from the light of day. I observed him working diligently, appreciating his focus and skill. He was intent on his task, yet there was an undeniable tension in the way his hands danced, as if he could feel the weight of my gaze upon him. "Is everything proceeding smoothly in that intimate realm?" I inquired, my voice a gentle whisper, more tender than I had meant it to be. He inclined his head, his gaze lingering elsewhere. "Indeed, just a subtle trickle. It will be resolved shortly, just a matter of moments." Drawn by an undeniable allure, I let my fingers graze his shoulder ever so softly. His body tensed beneath my touch, and a thrill coursed through me, knowing the effect I had on him. It was an intoxicating sensation that had eluded me for years, and I found myself unwilling to release its grip. "You're quite formidable," I remarked, my voice laced with playful allure. He glanced up, taken aback, his cheeks deepening in color as a rush of warmth enveloped him. "Thank you," he responded, a hint of shyness in his voice. I offered him a gentle, intimate smile, feeling the charged atmosphere enveloping us. He adjusted himself, striving to uphold a facade of professionalism, yet the subtle quiver in his hands as he secured the last bolt revealed a deeper, unspoken tension between us. I moved in closer, my gaze fixed on him as he completed his task. "Do you require any assistance?" I inquired, fully aware of what lay beneath the surface. He swiftly averted his gaze, intent on gathering his tools, yet his hands trembled with an unspoken tension. I reached out once more, allowing my fingers to glide over his arm, savoring the warmth of his skin beneath my gentle caress. He stood still, his body taut, and I could perceive the conflict swirling within his gaze. A flicker of desire danced within him, a silent acknowledgement of temptation, yet a deeper instinct urged restraint. He was youthful, and I should have exercised more caution, yet in that fleeting moment, nothing else seemed to hold significance. I placed my hand briefly on his arm, sensing an unspoken moment between us. He gazed at me, his breath hitching for a fleeting instant before he retreated slightly, shattering the delicate silence that had enveloped us. "Ma'am," he murmured, his voice trembling with an unspoken tension, "I'm merely here to attend to the sink." A gentle smile graced my lips, delighting in the way his cheeks flushed with embarrassment. I let out a soft laugh and replied, "Thank you for taking care of the sink. It means a lot to me." He stood there, a flicker of uncertainty in his eyes, torn between the allure of remaining and the pull of departure. His hands quivered slightly as he completed the task of packing his tools, and I could sense the tumultuous struggle within him. I drew nearer, my lips almost brushing against his ear. I smiled and said, "I might need your expertise for something else soon." He remained silent, a statue caught in a moment of disbelief, his gaze lingering with an intensity that spoke volumes. I leaned in, the air thick with unspoken desire, but he swiftly retreated, raising his hands as if to shield himself from the moment that hung between us. "I can't," he murmured, a hint of longing in his voice as he shook his head, the weight of unspoken desires hanging in the air between them. "I truly find myself unable to do so." A subtle ache of longing washed over me, yet I understood he was not ready to surrender just now. He hurried from the house, leaving me in a solitary embrace of silence. Yet the manner in which he departed lingered in the air, not merely awkward, but steeped in an unsettling sense of incompleteness, a story left untold. And I understood that beneath his words, it wasn't a lack of interest that held him back. It was due to his uncertainty in resisting the allure of temptation. The days that followed were steeped in a tantalizing blend of exhilaration and longing. My thoughts were consumed by Matthew, the way he paused, the intensity of his gaze that seemed to hold me captive. It had been ages since I had experienced such emotions, since I had truly felt anything deep within. And now there was this young man who awakened a longing within me, a feeling I believed had faded into the shadows of my past. Fate has a way of weaving unexpected encounters, and I had resigned myself to the thought that our paths would never cross again. Yet, a week later, the sound of my phone broke the silence, and when I picked up, it was Matthew's voice that sent a thrill through me. "Greetings, it's Matthew the plumber," he softly revealed. "I wanted to see if the sink is still in good condition, as I can't help but think about the little moments we share in that space. Did the resolution endure?" His voice carried a veneer of politeness and professionalism, yet I could feel the subtle tremor of nervousness lurking just beneath the surface. "How amusing that you would bring that up," I replied with a hint of playful intrigue. "The sink is perfectly fine, yet there's another matter in the bathroom that I was hoping you could attend to." It may seem trivial, yet there's a certain comfort in having an expert take a closer look, isn't there? After a lingering moment of hesitation, he finally acquiesced. "I'll arrive in approximately an hour." Upon his arrival, the tension within him became unmistakably palpable. He endeavored to keep his calm, yet the tautness in his form betrayed the storm brewing beneath the surface. I guided him upstairs to the bathroom, where the issue was merely a loose faucet handle. Yet deep down, I understood it was not the faucet that had drawn him back to me. As he toiled, I lingered in silence, the air charged with an unspoken intensity between us. He struggled to maintain his concentration, yet I could sense his heightened awareness of me, of the tantalizing distance that lingered between us. At last, I surrendered to the longing that had been building within me. "Matthew," I murmured, drawing nearer, "you've been on my mind lately." He lingered, his fingers tightening around the faucet, his breath quickening ever so slightly. "You possess—" His voice wavered, a delicate hesitation hanging in the air, as if he were caught in the web of unspoken desires, unsure of how to navigate the moment between them. "I can't shake the memories of our last encounter," I confessed, my voice barely above a whisper. "Your intrigue was palpable, yet you chose to restrain yourself. What could have led to that moment?" He remained silent for a moment, his hand lingering on the faucet, yet the turmoil in his gaze spoke volumes. "I'm a professional," he finally murmured, his voice a tantalizing whisper that hung in the air between them. "It would be improper. Would it truly be considered a mistake?" I inquired, my tone gentle and inviting. As two grown individuals, we find that sometimes the most profound connections arise in the most surprising of circumstances. His gaze locked onto mine, brimming with an alluring tension. He struggled against the pull, attempting to uphold that veneer of professionalism, yet the electric tension between them was undeniable. A moment of unspoken understanding passed between us. He hesitated before stepping closer, his expression conflicted yet sincere. It was a world apart from the hesitant kiss that had come before. This moment was charged with urgency, heavy with the unspoken desires we had long kept hidden. His lips were inviting and insistent, and I met his fervor, my fingers weaving through his hair, drawing him nearer. The desire was intoxicating, the unspoken connection between us finally breaking free as we surrendered to the long suppressed feelings that had lingered in the shadows. A deep connection formed between us, an unspoken bond neither of us had anticipated. In that suspended moment, Matthew's touch was tender yet electric, his gaze mirroring the tumult of emotions swirling within me. In that moment, all doubt faded away, leaving only a profound connection that bound us together. The moments that ensued were a haze of feeling and longing, a dance of desire and intimacy. Matthew's touch was both gentle and insistent, his hands roaming and possessing me in ways I had long forgotten. There existed neither shame nor guilt, only the unfiltered intensity of our emotions. It was a bond so profound, so instinctual, that all else faded into oblivion. In those moments, a spark ignited within me, awakening sensations I had long forgotten. As we finally found ourselves entwined in the soft embrace of the sheets, a smile crept onto my lips, a secret joy shared between us. A rush of vitality coursed through me, awakening sensations I hadn't experienced in ages. The silence that enveloped us felt less like an absence and more like a warm embrace, a shared secret that deepened our connection. It felt as though we had ventured into uncharted territory, a realm we had never acknowledged before, yet neither of us felt remorse for our daring exploration. "I've never done anything like this," Matthew murmured, his voice low and husky as he lay beside me, his fingers tracing lazy circles on my arm. "Neither have I admitted softly, my own voice just as quiet. Matthew turned to face me, his expression gentle, brimming with an unexpected depth, a hint of vulnerability that stirred something within me. "I know I shouldn't have crossed this line," he murmured, a hint of disbelief in his voice, "but I can't bring myself to regret it." My fingers rested on his chest, tracing the rhythmic pulse of his heart, a silent connection that spoke volumes between us. "Neither do I replied softly, a hint of longing in my voice. We lingered in that moment, each of us entwined in our private reveries, the air thick with unspoken desires. The gravity of our shared experience lingered in the air, yet it felt strangely intimate. We both knew we had ventured into uncharted territory, yet there was an unspoken agreement that we were perfectly fine with it. At last, Matthew propped himself up, his gaze drifting to the clock, a silent witness to the passage of time. "I really ought to leave," he murmured, a hint of longing lacing his words. "My time here has stretched beyond my initial intentions." "You needn't feel obligated," I murmured, fully aware that his departure was inevitable. He lingered for a heartbeat, his gaze betraying a desire to remain, yet he ultimately shook his head, as if torn between longing and restraint. "I don't want things to be awkward," he murmured, his gaze lingering on mine. I don't want you to think I was just—" I smiled, a knowing warmth spreading between us, understanding the unspoken depths of his words. "I do not," I softly assured him. "There's a depth to you, Matthew, that draws me in. Our souls craved this connection, and I find solace in the fact that it unfolded between us. Yet, I find myself not yearning for anything beyond the fleeting moments we share." His expression softened, a hint of relief washing over him, yet the lingering shadows of uncertainty danced in his gaze. "Are you truly at ease with all of this? Are there no unusual emotions lingering beneath the surface?" I chuckled gently, a smile playing on my lips as I shook my head in disbelief. "Not at all, Matthew. Let's keep things uncomplicated." It was one of those unforgettable moments, charged with an electric tension that lingered in the air, free of expectations, unburdened by obligation. He nodded, absorbing the weight of my words with a knowing glance. "Very well," he replied after a moment's hesitation. "It seems our paths will cross again soon." "Perhaps," I whispered playfully, a smile dancing on my lips. "Should my sync falter once more, you shall be the first to whom I reach out." Her laughter danced in the air, igniting a spark within him. He rose, collecting his tools with a deliberate grace, the weight of his bag resting against him like a secret waiting to be unveiled. Yet, just before he departed, he cast a lingering glance my way, a moment suspended in time. "Catherine," he murmured, his tone gentle yet earnest, "I have no regrets. I simply wish for you to understand that." A smile graced my lips as I observed him gently push the door open. I find myself in the same sentiment, and in an instant he vanished from my life. The house enveloped me in an unbearable stillness after he departed, the silence wrapping around me like an oppressive embrace. I lingered in silence, my gaze fixed on the door, attempting to unravel the whirlwind of emotions that had unfolded. The exhilaration, the fervor, the undeniable bond that lingered in the air. What once felt so vivid and alive had now faded into a bittersweet memory, leaving only the echoes of what was. With a deliberate grace, I approached the bedroom, anticipation swirling in the air. The expanse of the bed seemed to echo with his absence, a void that whispered secrets of longing and desire. As I reclined in the shadows, a whisper of doubt crept into my mind, questioning whether I had crossed a line. Had I surrendered to the depths of my desires? Had I surrendered to the depths of my emotions too willingly? Yet in the midst of the melancholy, I found solace in the certainty that I would not alter a single moment. What I had shared with Matthew had awakened a longing within me that had lain dormant for years. It stirred within me the realization that I was still alive to desire, to experience, to feel the fire of passion, and for that I felt a deep sense of gratitude. The days that followed drifted by, my existence slipping back into the familiar embrace of a quiet routine. Yet an undeniable shift lingered in the air. Though Matthew had departed, the flame he ignited within me continued to glow, stubbornly resisting the shadows of absence. My thoughts frequently drifted to him, pondering his activities and the emotions that stirred within him. Though I understood that parting ways was the wisest decision for our hearts, the ache of desire lingered, refusing to fade into the shadows. It lingered within me, a yearning I couldn't quite dispel. One sultry afternoon, as I sifted through the dust-laden albums of my past, I stumbled upon a photograph of my younger self, evoking a rush of bittersweet nostalgia. I was youthful, radiant, brimming with passion. I gazed at it, attempting to bridge the gap between that woman and the person I had transformed into. For countless years, I devoted myself to fulfilling the expectations of others. A devoted partner, a nurturing presence, a figure of unwavering responsibility. Yet, in pursuing that path, I found fragments of my essence slipping away. Matthew had stirred within me that longing, the yearning for adventure, intimacy, and a taste of something beyond the mundane. Even as our paths diverged, a profound sense of appreciation lingered for the fleeting yet passionate bond we had forged. He had bestowed upon me a token, a whisper of my vitality, a reminder that I still possessed the capacity to feel deeply. As the weeks gracefully slipped into months, the longing for Matthew began to soften, like a distant whisper in the night. The yearning still surfaced from time to time, yet it grew less persistent. Gradually, the void within me began to awaken, suffused with a new, intoxicating sensation. Our connection had become a fleeting sanctuary from the monotony of everyday life, a whisper of the person I could embrace when I dared to surrender to my emotions.